Hey, Shalom. Welcome back, Crime to Think Tank family. I know we're getting ready to celebrate a holiday, but I have this interesting story that I wanted to hit you up with, and I want to get your thoughts on it. So, like, comment, share, and subscribe. The question is, should free range parenting be criminal? I need your speculative, investigative thoughts on this one. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about it. Okay, so picture this. This story is coming to you out of Mineral Bluff, Georgia. Now, Mineral Bluff, Georgia is it has a population of about 370 people. So you know that it's rural, okay? And this story is about a young lady named Brittany Patterson. Brittany Patterson is about 41 years old. And I'm quite sure at this particular time, Brittany, on October the 30th, 2024, she never thought that her day would end where she were in handcuffs. And not only in handcuffs, but being handcuffed and carted off to jail in front of her children. So Brittany got up this day with a medical appointment scheduled for one of her older children. And so the younger son, which his name is Soren. Soren is about 10 years old. And like in the next couple of days on October 30th, he would have been turning 11. And so she asked Soren, she was like, hey, do you want to go, with us to the doctor? And Soren was like, no, that's okay. I'll just go ahead and chill at home. Now, keep in mind, in this rural town, that downtown area where Brittany was taking her oldest son to his medical appointment was about 20 minutes away. And where she lived actually on a 16-acre farm with her father. And in addition to that, her mother lived in this town as well, which was about 2 minutes away. So, of course, she didn't think anything of it with Soren being unsupervised at home. And I know many of us, I don't know, maybe some of you that are listening or watching, I grew up in the 70s and 80s. So I grew up under free range parenting with boundaries. Okay. So you could play in the street until the street lights come on. And when the street lights come on, you better be in the house, right? Or you could go and you could roam around the neighborhood, either with your siblings, with the people, the kids that lived on your street, or other family, members, other relatives. So she didn't think anything of it. So she goes, to town. And so Soren says, hey, you know what? He thought about, I want to go into the town, go to the little general store in town because I want to buy me something. And so he heads off. Now, keeping in mind, this town, it really didn't have any sidewalks. It had the grassy shoulder of the road. So he was walking on the grassy shoulder of the road, and a neighbor spotted him. And so I assumed that they were concerned. So they actually ended up calling the sheriff department. And so the sheriff comes out, they question Soren, asking where he lived, why he was unsupervised, what his age was. So he shared all that information with them. And he also gave them his mother's contact information. So they call her and she says, hey, I'm just, 15 minutes away in downtown Mineral Bluff, at the doctor's office, with my other child. And so they said, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and take Soren back home. So she was like, okay, cool, which that would be my response as well. And so about 5 hours later, the sheriff's office arrive at her home. They knock on the door and she comes out and she says, yes, officer, how may I help you? What's the problem? So they said, well, we're here to arrest you. And she said, arrest me for what? And they say child endangerment, or I believe the arrest record says bodily endangerment, something to that effect. And so she was like, really like shocked, like, really? So I mean, for real? And so, yeah, they have her turn around. So I'm going to show you all this video of her being arrested. And I believe it is a misdemeanor as well. But, once this is over, I want you guys to get in the comments. I want to hear whether you agree with it is you think it's child endangerment, or you are supporting free range parenting, because we're going to talk about this. Even they allow kids to come over the border without an adult. So, and we're going to see if this is constitutional in this area. And I believe it's Fannin County Sheriff's Department. So take a look at this video, and we're going to see Ms. Patterson speaking about it, alongside her attorney.
A mother of 4 was arrested and would face a year in jail after her then 10-year-old son was walking alone in their small town in Georgia.
You're under arrest.
For what?
For the incident we talked about earlier today.
What am I under arrest for?
For reckless endangerment.
And how was I recklessly endangering my child?
We're not talking about it.
So we're going to call mommy and tell them they're taking you to jail because you decided to walk down the street.
Let go of your hands. That's not his fault.
Brittany Patterson and her lawyer, David DeLugas, joins us now. Wow. Brittany, David, I'm so glad to have you on. Brittany, I can't tell you how outraged I am looking at that video of you being arrested. By the way, this is the same government. I know this was a state government, but our country allows children to walk across our border alone. And your child was going to the grocery store in a little town. Just before we talk about what happened, how traumatizing has this been for your family?
It's definitely been a little traumatizing. My kids have never seen anything like that or been exposed to anything like that. So really their first encounter with police or law enforcement, to see them taking their mother out of their home in handcuffs, I think was pretty traumatizing.
So your son was 10 years old. You didn't give him permission to go, but had he asked you if he could walk to that store, would you have allowed him to go?
I probably would have, yeah.
And so why do you think law enforcement is pursuing this? And I should let people know, law enforcement says they'll drop the charges if you agree to put a GPS tracker on your son's phone, on your phone, so you can track your son. Why is law enforcement pursuing this? What is going on in this town?
I don't know. I can't begin to understand what's going on in their minds. So that's a mystery to me as well. But I do want to clarify that they never officially, in writing or verbally, have offered to drop any charges. They said, possibly, maybe, if I sign the safety plan. But that was never anything official in writing.
David, you're the lawyer. What are the next steps for this family? And is the message to parents, at least in this community, that unless you're watching your kids 100% of the time, you're a bad, negligent parent?
Thank you for having us on. The answer is parents everywhere need to be concerned, because somebody with a uniform, a badge, and a gun can go get an arrest warrant at any time for anything. And here, the statute she was charged with was declared unconstitutional by the Georgia Supreme Court in 1997. So that's problematic. This deputy also told her, yes, it's illegal for someone 10 to walk, and that it's clearly not. By the way, he was 11 within a few days. And the irony here, too, is the next day was Halloween, where kids walk, often without their parents, door to door in the dark and knock on the doors of strangers. And yet he was, in the middle of the day, just walking down the street 9/10 of a mile. So the safety plan, it does not make him more safe. And also, by the way, he wasn't unsafe to begin with. Yeah. So for those viewers who are thinking, well, just sign the safety plan. No other parent in the state is required to put a GPS device on their child's phone, who then later may, by the way,
Yeah.
delete the app. The
Nobody
battery runs out. They forget to bring it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing if you want to put a GPS tracker on your kid's phone, that's fine. But for the government to tell you, the state or the county to tell you to do it is a whole other thing. You know, Brittany, this has sparked such a larger conversation about free range childhood versus this bubble wrapped helicopter parenthood, childhood. So just give me for a second your thoughts on that, because I think that's the conversation a lot of other parents are having, besides the government interference, which we can all agree on.
And I think it's an important conversation because the reality is that as parents, we should have that autonomy, whether we want to wrap our kids in bubble wrap or whether we want to give our kids a little more freedom and autonomy. It should be our decision as parents and not the decision of some government authority who doesn't even know our kids or know our family. So I do think this conversation is very important because I am starting to realize that this has been happening for a long time and it's much more prevalent than I realize and than I think most people realize. So as parents, I think we should all be concerned about that.
Well, God bless you, Brittany. I'm really sorry your family had to go through this, and that your children had to see you getting arrested. It's just unbelievable. By the way, Fox News reached out to the Fannin County Sheriff's Office for comment. They said they do not comment on pending cases. Brittany Patterson, David DeLugas, thanks for bringing this to our attention. A lot of parents are paying attention.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Take care. God bless you.
Okay, so there you have it. I mean, I see so many red flags in this, and I know you all do too. So once again, I thank you all for watching and for listening. And remember to share this video so that we can get others' thoughts and comments about this. Take care and have a wonderful holiday. Happy Thanksgiving.